So we're gonna start this off with a fun fact. The reason why we have this like this is because they were developing these. Isn't that neat? I think it's cool, man. One of them like, oops, but in a good way.
It's like how we got microwaves.
Explain.
A guy was walking past a machine, one of the scientists, and he had like a bar of chocolate in his pocket, and it instantly melted. It was some scientific machine that they were working on.
Did his balls catch radiation waves? Like, what the
I don't know, but that's how they were like, wait a minute, we can like heat stuff up to the point chocolate will melt.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I hope his nuts are like, okay. That sounds dangerous. Hey, what's good, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and review on these bad boys right here, along with your first impressions. So stay tuned for that if you're a runner.
Or if you're a fan of me.
Sure. However you want to do it. But anyways, these guys right here are the Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind. Didn't we just do a Velociti shoe? Is that what the Pumas? The Velociti Nitro or something like that, yeah. Right? So that's really weird. There's actually a few things about this shoe that are really weird that I'll get into in a second. But the first thing is, look at this hoodie, man. This is not even the best part. Can they see that?
You need to boost yourself up a little bit.
Like, oh, like.
There we go.
Okay, but look at that, man. That's like 90s Jim Lee goodness, man. Got this at Target. And same with, everybody's asking about the Avatar hoodie. Target. How are they getting all of this cool stuff? I don't know. I've even seen Avatar apparel over at Walmart. I saw this, I almost walked past it, and so like I had seen it in the corner of my eye, like hanging there, but I didn't see this. And I was like, hold on a second. So I walk over, I just wanted to see what the hoodie was, because they've been having some fire hoodies lately. Take it off the rack, and I saw the back, and I was like,
shut up and take my money.
Anyways, these guys right here are a brand new running shoe from Under Armour. It's really cool too, because in years past with the hover stuff, they've had like multiple variations of the running shoe. There's been like the tempo shoe, the long run shoe, yada, 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 all that stuff. This one though, they just rolled it out with, it's just this one. That's it. There's not like a whole squad of sneakers. It's one shoe, both for men and women, which we have right here. These are pretty. And again, this was the shoe that they found out that this stuff just works for basketball, like as far as grip goes. They went to go take pictures of these, and then they were like tripping over themselves on the indoor floors. And they were just like, yo, would this work for basketball? Well, yes, it would. Now, what these actually offer is a super lightweight, super comfortable package. Everything on here is really neat, and I really like these. I'm very excited to wear these casually. If you want performance stuff, Drew, you, Jody, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are gonna be doing that stuff. But what we have here is the Flow tooling, which is all one piece. So the outsole and the midsole are together. It reduces a lot of weight that you would normally have from rubber, which is what a lot of these brands are trying to do anyways. As long as it's good traction, then it should be okay, right? That's the one thing that I do wonder about this though, is that I've only used these, as far as the Curry goes, outside. A lot of people have played on them inside, so we know that there's traction in both of those areas. However, this being a running shoe, I do wonder about all conditions outside, because I don't play basketball in the rain, but people run in the rain or the snow or the mud or the grass, different terrain. I'm curious. But like I was saying, the entire tooling right here is their Flow technology. It's all one piece. Originally, Under Armour sent you that minty pair. I bought these myself because I wanted to know how they felt, because usually the hover and the runner feels great, and then you get the hover and the Curry and you're like, what the? It's not comfortable. This is not like that. While these are more spongy than these guys right here, they feel a little more bouncy, especially in the heel. These are still just as comfortable as this. If anything, when I put this on, I do wonder like, oh, that's a little too soft for basketball in certain areas, whereas this one right here, they tweaked it just enough. Plus, I think it's the shape or the sculpting where they're able to sculpt the material into more of a basketball shape, which is wider than something like running. Although I do wonder, like, is wider not good?
No, wider is great.
Okay, that's what I thought, because wider stability. So yes, there's a slight difference between this and the basketball version of Flow, but not enough to where I'd be like, oh, well, the basketball version is trash, or this is trash, or whatever. Like, this feels very good, very comfortable. This is exactly what I feel like I'd want to run in, whereas the Curry felt like I was playing basketball in a runner that was made for basketball, and it was really cool. Something that I also like though is that this is showing that you can paint this stuff. And we haven't really seen that much on the Currys yet, but we are going to, is what I've been told. I think the We Believe has some paint on it. I don't remember. Those are really cool. But the Curry has less of a top line, so they're only gonna really paint this top area, whereas these guys right here, it makes it look like there's an outsole. So I thought that was really cool. I really like the paint application as well. It's kind of got like a car looking paint to it. It's nice and glossy, a little bit of glitter, kind of like a pearl coat. And you've been running in them and there's no cracking, there's just some creasing, and that's normal. So seems pretty durable so far. Now the upper on these guys, they've labeled it as warp. So it's supposed to warp and mold or whatever to your foot shape. The first thing that I noticed though is, it reminds me of Brand Black's Tarantula, where that was built damn near identically to this. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know. All I'm saying is that this right here, it's super see-through, man, because the main layer is a TPU yarn. So it's like plastic mesh, but then over that you have a lot of yarn, like regular yarn. So you got knit and all of that stuff, and it's just all in different areas, and it's kind of like a web, spider web, like the tarantula thing, to really mimic the foot's shape as well as the foot's movement. You know what I mean? Almost like a second skin, which is what knit was originally intended for with the running category. Is it's supposed to move with your foot, kind of like a sock. And then there's these thicker areas that are actually like nylon strands, which I thought were really interesting. So those are like super strong versus the thinner cables that are moderately strong, and then, you know, the screen mesh that is not strong whatsoever. And then the tongue right here is got a complete, you know, booty sleeve from about here forward, so the tongue's not going to shift on you too bad. It is a very thin tongue, which I normally don't like, but they made it out of this, it's pretty much felt, but it's synthetic suede, so it doesn't feel like it's going to act like a blade against your skin. Now, as far as the sizing is concerned, I went true to size, but I'm not running in them. They feel like they're enough to splay and things like that. However, I did notice when I was running, man, your foot swells like crazy and like fast too. So like, I'd probably go with your true running size, which is typically for most runners a half a size up from your casual size. And that's exactly what you did. You wear a size 6 women's casually?
Yes.
And these are 6.5?
Under Armour was nice enough to send me a 6.5, and I'd say that the fit is pretty great.
So fit is one of your main issues, being a wide footer with a high arch, and you've had no issues so far?
Yeah, the only weird feeling I have in these is, and I believe it has to do with these little threads. Right here is where my foot bends, and I can feel this weird pressure across right where your toenails meet your skin again, especially on my big toe.
That's gross.
Yeah, so I came home today and did some inspections and nothing was there. So I think I just need to kind of get it stretched out a little bit.
Which I don't know if you'll be able to do fully.
I know, as you were like describing the material, I was just like, oh no.
Just because the base layer is a plastic yarn, and that typically will hold its shape pretty well. And then right here is where you're starting to see layers of stitching. It's for the high wear area so your toes don't bust through the shoe.
Yeah.
And I think that might be where you're feeling it press, you know what I mean? So like there's thicker material than thinner material, and so usually they'll cave. It's like when they do the weatherproofing, and then they'll have an extra layer in between layers, and so you'll hear like a pop, or you'll feel it pop on your foot, stuff like that. One of the things though that they've been describing in the kind of like the marketing of the shoe is no rubber equals faster, snappier ride. Do you notice anything like that?
Ooh, today was a fast run.
Is that so she does have these days where she'd be like, oh, today, so is that you or the shoe? Because I don't know.
Since quarantine, I have had like 0 training plans. Like there's just no point. If anything, it's just get out there and run to keep consistent. What I do notice is I go off on my adventure and then I come home and I stop my watch, and there are some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I was on fire, and then there's other days where I was like, did I stop and take a nap? Today I was just like, yes, when I...
So you just felt good? Everything was clicking?
I didn't like look at my splits or anything, but yeah, today everything was clicking.
Did you feel anything though? Did it feel snappy?
It just felt good. Any run where you don't really notice anything except for that weird sensation,
Did it go away?
Shoe. So I didn't start out feeling that way. It was over time.
As your foot swells a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have you run in these so far?
Just twice. Oh, that is something I wanted to touch on briefly. I was able to do my first run in rain and sunshine on both wet and dry pavement. Like, we have been having crazy weather conditions here the last 2 days, and I started out in the sun, everything was dry, and then not flood, but basically storm. Dumping. There was people running for cover, hiding underneath trees in the park. Like, nobody was expecting that one.
Texans are like...
Right. I had no problem though with traction whatsoever.
Really? It actually gripped?
Yeah. I was out in the park with our little windy pathways. It was great.
Yeah, because that's always something that I do wonder with foam, is like sometimes it could be super slippery.
No, this one was not.
All right, guys, so that pretty much takes care of for these. Again, this is the Under Armour Flow Velociti Wind. Such a name. It's unnecessary, but whatever. It's a really interesting shoe that I would say if you are interested in trying out different things, then try this out. Also, for anybody curious, they always put their stack height inside of the shoe right there on the insole, which I think is really cool. So there's an 8mm kind of like offset. It's 26 in the back. back, 18 in the front, which is really neat, and it's both in both the men and the women's. Is your insole different, or is it the same?
It's usually the top layer that they change out. These are moist.
I know, I just touched that, and I was like, this is... Kept it together, though. I'm glad you said something. All right, guys, so that pretty much takes care of these guys. Let us know what you think about them down below in the comment section. If you own a pair, have you started running them? If you have, let us know your thoughts. If you just bought them for casual use, I'd also like to know your thoughts, because especially if you own both of these shoes, like the Currys and these, which one do you think feels better between the two, just for casual use? Also, stay tuned for the performance review. It'll be done by Drew as well as you. This is Mrs. Wing, or Jody.
In case you're new here.
Yes.
I'm also his wife.
I know, people don't seem to who is that lady to him?
I think she likes him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Just a little bit.
I was going to say something dirty, but I'm not going to. So, I know your parents are watching, so we won't do that. But thank you so much for everything, and until next one, guys, have a good one.